Okay, good.
Fucking nailed it.
I think so. All right.
Okay, I
guess we're recording now.
I think so.
I guess we're doing a podcast.
This is so stupid. Okay, yeah, great.
Because we're millennials, and this is just what we do when we don't have any other good coping mechanisms. Is make media.
Yeah, it's sad bitch hours, so it's trying to drop some takes.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna have a lot of time to drop takes, in fact, because I think we all have nothing but time. For posterity's sake, it is April 4th, 2020. We have just recently breached 1 million worldwide coronavirus cases, so this is the way that we are dealing with the global pandemic, which is talking about media, I guess. Layla, do you want to just set up the premise of this this project, this experiment?
Do we want to introduce ourselves first?
Sure, yeah, why not? Might as well.
Okay, you can go first, because alphabetical order is why.
Yeah, my name's Aaron. I am a school nurse, although I'm leaving my job here in a bit to go to graduate school to study public health policy and administration. And I like talking about nerd shit, and that's why I'm recording podcasts, because I'm trapped at home for, probably realistically the next 4 months, while the world is wrecked by COVID-19. So that's why I'm just trying to pass the time by talking with friends digitally.
Yeah.
and yeah, I think this project is explicit. Not explicitly. I want to make it explicit though. Like, the reason I want to record podcasts is because I think we're all extremely lonely, and it's kind of nice to have an excuse to talk to people. And also because we need to turn every minute of our lives into content, something that can be monetized. That's just sort of the natural progression of things. So
yeah, and I heard somebody refer to podcasts as a friendship simulator, and I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's sort of why I wanted to do this, and the other thing I was talking about, literally just because I like some of these people on Twitter. I want to talk to them for a bit. Yeah, so that's where we're at. we're making media to experience human emotion.
Yeah, that's for sure. So for posterity's sake, I guess, my name is Layla. I am a film school almost graduate, and I work in communications. So I'm not only I've been a nerd for a while, and I have a degree in it, I think is the best way to put it. I have a degree in nerd shit. I wrote an essay that got me an A+ to graduate film school, well, sort of film school, which was about a video game immersion. So I've been through the nerd shit hamster wheel for a really, really, really long time. And yeah, I work in communications now, so extra certified in talking about the nerd shit that I enjoy. And I'm hoping that this friendship simulator will make it feel like we're talking with you, but not really. We're talking to each other because we're friends.
Yeah, but you're welcome to listen in on our conversation, like an apartment neighbor pressing their ear to a too-thin wall. And, if that makes you feel less alone in this terrible, terrible period in history, you're a weirdo, but so be it. But I guess the first thing... So the premise of this show, I guess, is basically me and Layla have a lot of overlapping interests, and we wanted to I guess just recommend stuff to each other, and then I guess every time we record, it'll have been at the completion of one thing that has been recommended to the other person, and we will evaluate it in a literary and film, and just place it on the global scale of media. What is its place in history, and I think that's going to be an important. I think this is going to be an important project, just categorizing the best media of all time.
Yeah, for sure. So our first discussion is going to be about the most tits out anime on the planet, Kill la Kill.
Wow, this is going to be a lot.
Yeah, I'm really super jazzed. I've been thinking about it all morning. so thrilled. I should also make the caveat. So yes, we're going to recommend things to each other because we have overlapping tastes, but I'm a trash disaster mess and Aaron is not. So my recommendations are probably going to be balls to the wall. But that's okay. That's
We'll see.
that's what friendship is for. So yeah, I guess I can tell you a little bit about why I thought you would enjoy Kill la Kill. Preface.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Go ahead.
So preface, I have decided I'm going to tattoo the entire screenplay of the 2019 Trigger feature film Promare on my human body. And I have forced, I think, 8 of my friends to go see it in theaters, Aaron included. And Aaron had a pretty, I would say fairly pleasant experience in the theater with this thing. Not a diehard fan, but he came back with yeah, that was enjoyable. Which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, as far as anime movies go, it was a pretty good film.
Yeah, there you go. That's all I asked for. So later I was like, hey, if you like Promare, and God, we were talking about something else. I was like, you should try watching Kill la Kill. And in my ding dong brain, what I thought was, if he could handle Promare, I could at least sell this poor man on the animation merits of Kill la Kill. And also we talk a lot about shonen anime, which we'll get into defining what shonen means and kind of what Kill la Kill does with genres. But we talk a lot about shonen and how these protagonists go through their big hero quests and what that kind of means to us. And Ryoko has a pretty intense hero quest. So I was like, hero quest, school anime, good animation. I could probably sell this poor motherfucker on it. And I did, and I'm so jazzed.
I mean, the thing about Kill la Kill is that it is a great anime in spite of his aesthetics, as opposed to because of them. I mean, you are at times a professional animator, so I mean that's where the expertise you bring to this discussion. And like you're saying, Kill la Kill, I mean, is a gorgeous looking show. It's drawn very well. All the fight scenes in it are exquisite. It is also, without any sort of qualifications, the horniest show I've ever seen in my life. Literally, day one. I mean, I don't even know where we should start. It's just that was my big problem with Kill la Kill, is that it's just so it's in your face horny, in every episode without fail. And
oh God,
right, there's a lot of fan service in it. And I was like, I don't know. Is this gonna be weird? I don't know if that's good. But if you can handle that, I mean, it is actually a very, very good show.
Yeah, and I mean,
I was very surprised that I enjoyed it.
Literally, my reaction after having finished it, whenever I finished it, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. I should also qualify, I guess, or at least my angle here, or our angle. I'm assuming mostly our friends are going to listen to this, so they know who we are as people.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not necessarily pro teenage horniness here. We're like adults in our mid-20s.
Yeah. We're not.
We drink respect women juice every morning. It's
yeah.
But I think we should talk about it a little bit and qualify it in a couple of ways. So the reason, and the thing with Kill la Kill too, is I have to be very careful recommending it to people who know me and trust me, because if a stranger, told any living human being with a set of lungs and a brain that, hey, watch Kill la Kill, and they don't have a background in anime, and I'm not there to watch it with them and qualify some of the shit that's going on, it is the most nerve-wracking experience in the world, because you do come off a little bit crazy. So when I watched it, and I watched it years ago, so just to be clear, a lot of my recollection on it is going to be a little bit hazy. I did refresh myself, but who cares? I'm still happy to talk about how bizarre this experience is. My experience was watching it and thinking to myself, oh, that's a lot. For
yeah, I mean,
8 episodes.
Yeah, basically.
And
that's the second subtitle is "That's a lot."
Yeah, Kill la Kill. Oh, that's a lot. And for me, I have this thing with anime, right? And so anime, let's qualify something here. Again, I keep using the word qualify. I'm so sorry. let's.
I mean, with any sort of anime, there's a lot of qualifiers.
There are. So, okay, let's back up. Let's take a little bit of a bird's eye view real quick, and then we'll go back into how horny specifically this show is. I can't tell you the amount of times I've watched anime, and it's just like a lot of underage nudity, and I'm not comfortable with it. But the thing that we have to really consider and think about is, I've heard a lot of people justify it as a cultural thing. I have no insight on Japanese culture. I have no knowledge of it. I don't pretend to know what is in the mind of Japanese creators. I don't pretend to understand the role gender plays in Japan as it is right now. Japanese feminism is specifically going to be a fight for Japanese women and in defining that. And that's just something that we have to qualify right now and say that we as Westerners have no right to tell people how to live their lives. But we as Western consumers of anime, I think there's a different role for us there, in the sense that with something like Kill la Kill, where there's just a lot of nudity, and Kill la Kill in itself is so bonkers off the wall, and its nudity and its violence and its sort of cartoonishness, that there's a lot of room for forgiveness with the nudity, because it never feels, well, sometimes it does, but not often enough does it feel predatory. It always feels, how do I put this? Uncomfortable, but I'm never mad when I'm watching it. I think the worst reaction I've had to Kill la Kill nudity was like, all right, that's enough. But where you have something like Devilman Crybaby, on the other hand, did you ever watch Devilman Crybaby?
No, because you said it was like super fucked up.
Yeah, super fucked up and terrible. I hated it very, very, very much. Don't come for me. That's not a take. That's a fucking fact. So, there's an episode, spoiler alert, for Devilman Crybaby. It came out forever ago. If you haven't seen it, you're not gonna. But basically, there's in episode 5, and I remember this because it was on a plane, and I was so mad that I rage watched the rest of the show way past my bedtime, and I had work the next morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. Basically, there's an encounter where the main character, who you're supposed to sympathize with, is like, just gets super horny when he starts to turn into a demon thing, or a half demon, or whatever he is, or devil man, and he like has to fuck like right now, like it's like an urgent need. He starts looking at his friend, and like all he can see is her tits. Like, it's a whole, which again, that's one of those things I had a reaction to that was like, oh, right, enough. Like, I get it. Can we just get this over with? And then he goes to see this demon in the red light district. He doesn't know she's a demon, and she is a demon, and she's super horny for his past life, but not who he is now. And they start to fuck, and then they start fighting as they're fucking, and then it turns into an assault. And I'm not going to dive any deeper into it than that, but I was so pissed because you're supposed to continue to empathize with this character, and I didn't like that. I don't think Kill la Kill ever gets there. It does get uncomfortable. For me, for anime, as somebody who consumes a lot of it, and has been for like 20 years now, technically, if you count Pokemon.
Pokemon, yeah, no, Pokemon is
whatever.
Baby's first anime, and it absolutely counts.
Yeah, thank you. Perfect. Okay, cool. Pokemon, and then like right into Inuyasha, which is buck wild. But
okay,
anyway.
That's all right. Hold up.
Well, no,
that's a big shift. Like, you didn't go start with Pokemon and then go to Digimon and then
No,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
I guess I
You're
did.
just like, nope.
But in my brain,
Okay.
Pokemon, Digimon, and Yu-Gi-Oh all kind of occupy the same, and Dragon Ball technically all occupy
Yeah,
the
exactly,
same
yeah.
time period. And then like Adult Swim would come on, and it was just Inuyasha, Kagome, just for a year. Or several. So yeah, but with Kill la Kill and with anime like Kill la Kill, especially magical girl anime, it's like Sailor Moon, the protagonists are all 14. I have to, in my head, just add 5 years onto all of them. Everyone just 5 years older than they are. It's the only way I can be even like remotely, I wouldn't even say comfortable, but it's the only way I can sit there and not feel gross after 26 episodes.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
then
I
again,
think
my
that's...
brain is like ruined by anime, and I've watched it for 20 years, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like a kind of a common theme, right? With the shonen genre, especially, right? The protagonists are all like either like, I mean, Yu Yu Hakusho is an 8th grader.
Oh my
like,
fucking
I
god,
mean,
Yusuke. Yeah, he is an 8th
yeah.
grader, isn't he?
Yeah, like, I mean, they're all set in like this, like right as you're like either leaving grade school going into high school. I mean, a lot of animes are set in high schools explicitly, like, and I mean, I think that you can make an argument for that being a marketing perspective, you know, like basically the equivalent of the YA genre, but for manga and anime. But yeah, as an adult, it is very strange, and you always want to be careful going into stuff like this, because you don't want it to be what's the word? Basically, you don't want it to be something that you are watching. It's not supposed to really be titillating. I mean, there are obviously parts of it that are, which is kind of gross, but in the whole, you don't want that to be like sort of the main focus. And that's why it always, like you said, I mean, it helps if you're just like, these people are not acting like actual teenagers, and real teenagers are not like this. And you always have to keep that at the forefront of your mind, especially when you get to the more problematic elements.
Yeah, and I want to just expand on something you just mentioned that I think is a good point that I forgot to hit on. This is not supposed to be titillating, and don't ever, if you're gonna take my +5 suggestion, don't like make it a justifier for being horny for teenagers. Like, that is, let's just get that out there right now.
We want to make that, we can put that on the box. We do not endorse being horny for teenagers.
No, they're kids
on this
Chillins.
Unnamed podcast.
No, don't do that, fictional or otherwise. Absolutely the fuck not. That was a question I actually wanted to ask you too. So I guess if we're gonna talk about first, let's define shonen real quick. It is a genre of anime and manga that literally means, the word shonen, as I understand it from wikipedia.com, means like boys comic. It is
young boy is what a shonen is.
And it's a piece of media specifically geared towards like a young boy. It usually has a young male protagonist. It's usually funny, high action, high octane story. These are your Naruto's, your I wouldn't call Inuyasha now. Your Naruto's, your One Pieces, your Dragon Ball Z's. Pretty much
basically anything anime that was popular if you were in middle school and you're a millennial, like that sort of show.
Yeah, the shit you grew up on. That's shonen. And then we should also just really quick define the hallmarks of a magical girl anime. So this is your Sailor Moon. This is your Tokyo Mew Mew, and your well, I'm blanking on it.
I don't watch a lot of magical girls. I mean, Sailor Moon is my major touchstone, and I haven't even seen that. But like, I mean, the main thing that I understand about magical girl shows is that there's a group of female friends typically in a school, and they usually involve a transformation sequence, which we will get into with this show.
Yeah, they do.
And then like, I guess like it's a lot like just like friendship is the main thing, which is always a good hallmark of an excellent piece of media, is where friendship is your power.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're pro. This is a pro friendship podcast. Yeah. So I think we can talk about Kill la Kill in it being a subversion of both. Because Ryuko does have her like hero's journey, and it is kind of like a raucous. My dog just started moving. Are you gonna decide where you're gonna go? You gonna decide? Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. For a 3-legged dog, he's really got a lot of fucking grip. Go lay down. Gideon. Go lay down. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so we can talk about Kill la Kill as a subversion of both a magical girl and a shonen, because it has a hero's journey, but the protagonist is a female, and she's not like a tomboy necessarily either. She's pretty feminine. There's also a spoiler alert, queer romance that it ends with, and also it is a subversion of the magical girl genre because it's incredibly horny, as we just mentioned.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Do we want to just like try for a quick summary as much as we can?
Oh,
and then,
you're fresher on it? Take it away.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, so we start with Ryuko Matoi. Ryuko is this, basically she's a new student at the Hanoji Academy, which, oh god, the way Kill la Kill starts out is by explicitly comparing Hanoji Academy to like Nazi occupation, which is kind of an incredible statement, considering where the series goes in the end. But like they're reading about how the Nazis eventually took over Germany, and then like it introduces this academy, Hanoji, which is run by a like basically a class system wherein there are no stars, 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, and then there's Satsuki Kiryuin, my queen, who we'll get into in a bit. But basically,
valid.
Ryuko Matoi comes to this school, and she's got this sword that's half of a scissor, and she says to Satsuki Kiryuin, who is she's a student at this school, but she also is like the whole school board in one person. It's really weird. And she thinks that the person who killed her father is at this school, and so she starts by challenging this leader, Satsuki, to a fight. And from this point on, Ryuko will get involved in a series of fights that get progressively wilder and crazier. But in the first episode, she's defeated in a fight. She goes back to like her old home, and she discovers this this sailor uniform. So that's where we're starting to get with the horniness. But it is a person. Well, it is animate. It is not necessarily a person, but it is living, and it can talk to her. And the sailor uniform, when she puts it on, it makes her stronger. We learned that this uniform is later described as like kamui, and there's two major ones in the show that we talk about. But basically, this sailor uniform, which is named Senketsu, gives her extra strength. So, the whole series is just the development of Ryuko and Senketsu becoming stronger, defeating enemies, basically going through like kind of a typical shonen arc of like, unlocking new forms and fighting enemies with these different, working their way up the 1-star, the 2-star, until we get to the 3-star, this class system wherein the stars that they have indicate the level of their clothing, right? And that's where we're probably going to get into the talking more about how magical girl animes work, because the clothing, the stars indicate like the power level of your uniform, your Goku uniform, and that's where we get a whole bunch of transformation sequences, and that kind of stuff is what makes me love this show. It's just because it's very in the genre, but also they do the wild subversion stuff. God, it's so hard to try to summarize this thing because it is such a behemoth. But basically, we get a couple important characters besides Satsuki Kiryuin, who's like the main antagonist. We get Mako Monkanshok, who's this and basically Ryuko's classmate. They're the same age. I think they're both 17. I think is canon. I think that Ryuko is supposed to be a 17-year-old, and basically Mako and Ryuko sort of like team up. Ryuko doesn't like live in town. The town is also run by Honoji Academy, and set up explicitly so that way people who are no stars and their families have to live in the slums. And I guess, so Ryuko ends up living with Mako Monkanshok and the Monkanshok family in the slums, and they go on a bunch of adventures until eventually Ryuko fights her way to the top 3, the 3-star Goku uniform people, and those 3, the Elite 4, who wear the 3-star Goku uniforms, are my favorite characters in this besides Satsuki Kiryuin, because they all rule. And once she, I guess, defeats them, then the show takes a turn, and at that point it becomes very difficult to describe, but basically it involves aliens and like a vast conspiracy to control the world through clothing, and I don't know if I want to try to get into more than that because it'll take all day.
Yeah, I feel like it's a pretty good. I feel like it's a pretty good summation of Kill la Kill, in the sense that it is a shonen anime that takes place at a school and does that classic thing where it really prioritizes the student council, but the student council also runs this town, and
it's so wild.
The uniforms are aliens, but also you have to avenge your father's death by trying to find the other half of the scissor sword, and also it's a magical girl anime, and also it's just a lot to handle all at once. Like, it takes a long time to parse. I was rereading the episode summaries before we started recording, and I literally messaged Aaron in all caps. I'm like, I forgot they were sisters. Like, it gets so... it's no holds barred. It absolutely goes buck wild insane. And I think the thing I really love about Studio Trigger, especially, and all of their work. I mean, Kill la Kill was my introduction. It's the reason I went to see Promare, even though it's directed by the guy who did Gurren Lagann, and I hated Gurren Lagann. I'm dropping a lot of really hot takes on, like, really beloved anime. I can't...
Yeah. You better hope we don't become popular.
This ever gets out, my inbox is gonna be fucking flooded. Anyway, Gurren Lagann sucks. So, it really does. I'm sorry. I'm not at all. So
I've never seen it, but I'll take your word for it.
Please, I mean, you might like it. I don't know. It's another one of those subversion things where it asks the question, what happens when the shonen protagonist dies? I just don't like the way it answers that question.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really balls to the wall and insane. I think the thing I love about Trigger is that they pull zero punches. They pull zero punches at any at all times. And so as an animator, I think you mentioned I was a professional animator. I went to animation school. It's a whole thing. But I think the thing I really enjoy about TV is TV generally has a lower budget than... Hi, Toulouse. TV generally has a lower budget than film, and they really use their budget in the sense that a lot of the shots... I was watching a compilation of, like, Mako, like a Mako best of, and when we upload this, we can put it in the description.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, like, still shots of Mako, but then they just spend, like, a wild amount of... Oh, my God, the sentence is about to come out of my mouth. There's a shot where she's telling Ryuko she needs to get naked, and she tells her that she has a better rack than Satsuki. And it's the most over-animated thing in the world, juxtaposed with these shots of her pretty much standing perfectly still, or like the one drawing of her sliding kind of a little bit across the screen, which is a big money saver. And if you watch Promare, God's favorite movie, the best thing to come out of anywhere at all, that will be... Hey, Toulouse. Sorry, my cat. Where was I? Yeah, so if you watch Promare, God's best movie, and the best thing to come out of Japan pretty much since Kill la Kill, honestly, if we're going to be really real, there's a lot of the same kind of money-saving techniques, especially with them using 3D, and I really love shows like, if we're talking about Netflix originals, Carmen Sandiego and a bunch of others that really make the full use of their budget. So I think that's where I got hooked, and then it just went so crazy. I was like, yeah, this is my shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely... I mean, as far as, like, I couldn't tell that it was like, a cheaply made show, but, I mean, reading the wiki and stuff, it apparently they did, like, use those techniques to try to save money. I mean, I definitely get, like, the... Mankonchok does those, like, weird... She goes into, like, these weird, like, speeches where she, like, gets very animated and, like, starts saying all sorts of things, like what you said, where she's like, you got where she tells Ryuko to get naked for some reason.
So she could stop being ashamed of Senketsu, I think.
Yeah, that... I mean, there's several weird outbursts like that.
And I like that they're always earmarked by this weird hand thing that she does. And it's this incredibly... where she, like, waves it around. Yeah, it's this incredibly detailed drawing of her hands, and she puts them over her head, and then just launches into a tirade. And it reminds me of... Speaking of perfect anime that is completely buck wild, it reminds me a lot of Princess Tutu, where... 30-second summary of Princess Tutu. It's exactly what you think it is. It's a duck. She's a girl. She's in love with a boy. It's crazy. Anyway, not Rumpelstiltskin. The story goblin is there. It's insane. But she will, every time she has to save somebody, Princess Tutu, this, again, magical girl, superhero version of a generally pretty clumsy student a la Sailor Moon, will put her hands over her head like a ballerina and do that thing from Swan Lake where she rotates her hands around each other and then extends her hand down. And every time Mako does that, I think of Princess Tutu. It's this very interesting magical girl hallmark for the not magical girl character of this shonen magical girl hybrid anime.
Yeah. definitely.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but Ryuko doesn't have a trademark like that, does she?
I mean, she does the life fiber synchronized Kamui Senketsu, like that whole.
Yeah, but she doesn't have like a
thing.
final "in the name of the moon I punish you" pose, does she?
No, she doesn't have a. She just does like the pulling of the glove and then sort of like the where she and Senketsu synchronize. But she doesn't like have a thing she says besides that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's what I was thinking of. It's just interesting that they never gave her anything like that as like a to mark the end of the transformation.
Yeah. I mean, Ryuko is definitely a distinctive character, though. I feel like they didn't necessarily need to like make her more.
No.
Like she is a very good anime protagonist. I mean, you get all the same like big idiot energy from any other shonen like protagonist, but also she's just like so aggressively like. I mean, she's very willing to fight and just like get into fights and challenge anyone. And I think that's just a nice thing to see because, like, as somebody who's watched a bunch of like pretty, I mean, down to earth animes like Naruto and like
down to earth in comparison for sure.
Yeah, I mean compared to Kill la Kill, yeah, it's very it's just nice to see because I'm sure as we'll talk about later, right, that there's not a whole lot of women representation in shonen anime. Hold on. There's not a lot of representation in shonen anime for women like in Naruto. Basically, every female character gets sidelined, and that sucks. But that's another show.
Yeah, we did talk about Naruto and Rurouni Kenshin, and but yeah, I mean, and when you think about just to touch on that for a second, when you think about the way fandom operates, especially around anime, there's a lot of I mean, you and I both grew up with Kingdom Hearts. There's a lot of shipping activity for male characters, and while there's a lot to be said about that, especially in queer narratives, and how like it's a lot of straight women fetishizing like gay men. But the other facet of that is, one, it's like queer kids getting to kind of play in this socially acceptable queer space back when being gay really wasn't that acceptable, all of 10 years ago. But also it's this thing where there's not a lot of material for women characters in general. Like even Sakura, who objectively kicks ass, she's completely sidelined all the time. In Kenshin, the protagonist there, who is the student of this school that everybody knows, this dojo that everybody knows, sidelined completely. But in Kill la Kill, where you're both Mako, who is your love interest, spoiler alert, and Ryuko, who is your classic shonen protagonist / magical girl, it's completely turned on its head because you can't sideline your two main characters, and you have Ryuko, who is, I mean, she's high int, low whiz. She's smart, but she's the dumbest smart person in the world. And then Mako, who is truly a herbo in every way. She's just so dumb. I
mean, I think that's why her dynamic with Gamagori is so good, because they're actually the same person.
Oh, Gamagori.
We need to talk about Gamagori.
Before we deep dive into Gamagori, did you ever guess what my favorite character is?
I mean, I think it was Gamagori. I mean, there was that weird teacher guy.
Yeah, it was the weird teacher guy.
No, it was? Fuck. Oh, man.
I mean, the moment you give me, like, a glowing nipple, I'm sold.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, Layla likes Hosier, and this guy's whole titties are out. Maybe it's this one.
I took a screenshot of that, and I sent it to my other friend. It was like, why am I always red like this? My brand. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about Gamagori and how he does not have a set size.
Oh my god, yeah. That's a good point. I was wondering why he just constantly gets bigger throughout the series. Like, he's actually one of the first characters we get introduced to. He's the like leader of the disciplinary committee who punishes all the other students whenever they break Hanoji Academy's arbitrary rules. But like his whole thing is that he's into BDSM, which is again wildly horny show. And like his superpower is that like he can absorb damage with his Goku uniform, and he gets bigger and bigger until he explodes. And I think that's a direct quote. And I hate that for me. But like Gamagori is such a. I mean, there's always, in basically every good piece of media, there's a very big, strong man, who's dumb and kind, and that's Gamagori, Ira Gamagori in this one. And throughout the show, he, like you said, Layla, his size is portrayed so inconsistently. Like at first, he's like maybe like a 6 foot tall guy, and by the end of the show, he's I think probably about 30 feet tall. Like, I don't know, there's like some shots of him like coming in for the final battle, and he's like the size of a building. It's wild.
So I mean, from an animation perspective, that's also kind of a money saving thing, and I can say that for sure, because half of my job working on Undone was continuity. So that was half of a paycheck for a full human being, and I wasn't the only one doing it either. So when you have these high octane, high action scenes in something like Kill la Kill, where if you watch this shit frame by frame, they do not look the same frame to frame. There is no sense of maintaining a physical form. They have fully transcended. And that is very much, I mean, it takes a lot of expertise to make that look good, but it is also very much a money-saving thing. I can tell you right now, the shots that I worked on, both professionally and as a student, that had smears or warps in them went a lot faster than the ones where I had to make sure a forearm stayed the same throughout 60 frames.
Yeah, that does make sense. Now, I mean, I don't actually have an eye for that sort of detail, but I don't know. I mean, that's just one example of cost-saving measures, but I just love it, because I just love the idea of a man who just consistently gets bigger and bigger until he's just so powerful he can wrap his big strong arms around the world and protect it.
Yep, that's
all I really want from Gamagori.
That, and I mean, he delivers. Promare does the same thing, but in the inverse, where Gamagori is interesting, right? Because like you said, he's kind of like a big, tender-hearted oaf. But he intimidates for the greater good. And then I forget his name, but in Promare, there's a very similar character who is just straight up a villain. It's the anime Ice Guy.
Oh, yep, yeah.
He also changes sizes a lot.
The sergeant dude, yeah.
But he does it for pure intimidation. Meanwhile, Gamagori does it to be the biggest, meanest teddy bear you can possibly imagine.
He's Lady Satsuki's shield, and he does not let you forget it, because he says it every episode.
Well, they also don't let you forget the names of the protagonists and the antagonists, because every time they're in the same shot together, it's just Satsuki Kyuren,
Ryuko Matoi.
Yeah, it's just that back and forth, and they scream it it's so good.
That's why anime is good, though, is the thing. Western media never has the protagonist and antagonist just say each other's full name out loud.
No, I think the best we usually get is
angrily.
like the best we get is in a gritty fantasy. Sometimes it'll get growled. Yeah, that'll be kind of but
it's not the same.
I feel like in anime though, because you're working with so little time and so many characters, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Before we deep dive into Satsuki, because I know she's your fucking hashtag girl, I lied earlier when I said it took me a while to get into Kill la Kill. It didn't. It was the moment Satsuki appeared at the top of a fucking building, both hands on a sword, Lion King style, with a light shining down on her, where I was like, oh, no. Alright, we're into this.
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of where I was like, okay, this is a weird show, but that is my type. And I'm gonna hang in here, even though she's clearly the antagonist. She's already my favorite character. So Satsuki Kiryuin is, I mean, like we said before, she's the antagonist to Ryuko Matoi, and very much her foil in that, where Ryuko, at least for the first part of the show, it seems like Ryuko is trying to undermine this social order at this high school. Satsuki is the person who ostensibly set it up and is trying to pit social classes against each other in order to maintain some sort of weird sort of order that she feels will benefit the world. I just loved the way that she opens, which is like she looks down on all the students. She's like, "You're all pigs in human clothing," and I was just like, thank you. Berate us, trash that we are. Please, Satsuki. and that I don't know why I just love very mean like female characters in all sorts of media. It's like who is that one character in Full Metal Alchemist that you're like, oh, I think you're gonna like her?
Oh, the fuck me, the
one
lady,
general,
the friend, the sister rather. What the fuck is her name? I'm so gay for her.
She does ice stuff, right?
Yeah, no, she doesn't do shit. She's not I was gonna say she's not a bender. She's not an alchemist.
Oh no.
She's not an alchemist. Oh, fuck. I'm googling this. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Full. Oh my god, Olivier is her first name. Olivier.
She's the Ice Queen. That's why I thought she was magic.
Olivier Armstrong. Oh, talk about.
Oh yes, she's an Armstrong. That's why.
God,
okay.
I'm looking at a picture of her right now, just sitting in a chair with a sword, and she looks like she's gonna fucking kill me. Oh, I love her. Oh, what an angel! Thank you for reminding me Olivier Armstrong exists.
Sometimes you just gotta flip through your
gay catalog
photos of all sorts of women that with long swords just sort of glaring at the camera to remember that you're alive.
Oh my god, yeah, thank you. I'm gonna do that later. That's great. Ooh. Yeah. And we should talk about Satsuki and Ryuko really, really quick. And this is another this is a Layla's craft corner where I talk about the craft of animation. But it's interesting the way they're designed too. So like if you look at Satsuki, she's got these like really rigid bangs, these really like strong eyebrows, this big kind of like square eyes. Her uniform is a school uniform with fucking, are they pauldrons? Is that what they're called?
I mean that's what Senketsu's like eyes turn into, right? They're like they turn into those like big spiky like shoulder things.
Yeah, so the epaulets? No, it's not. Whatever the fuck it's called. I'm not a fashion historian. I'm trying to.
They're cool shoulder.
Yeah,
things.
you know the thing the prince in Cinderella, he has them. Anyway, so
yeah.
With those, and then there's like a weird golden hip thing happening, and then it's like a pleated schoolgirl uniform, and it's all white and blue. And then if you look at Ryuko, she's in black and red, kind of scruffy looking. Her uniform has an eye patch. Go figure that one out.
Yeah.
I can't, but I love it. And she's got like a half a scissor blade, and Satsuki has a like a standard sword.
I mean, she has a Sephiroth sword.
Yeah, shit's long. It's a metaphor for her dick. Like, she is BDE all day, every day. I love her. But yeah, just design-wise, they're made to be such polar opposites, and they recycle it for Promare, if you remember. Except they flip it on its head a little bit. They use it for Leo and Gallo in the Deus Ex Machina robot. One of them is black and red, and the other one is blue and white. And then they also reuse the concept of the Matoi, which is a flag that firefighters used to use in Japan, because you have Matoi Ryuko and her dad, and then also the Matoi is like a weapon concept in Promare. So there's a lot of like thematic overlay. You can tell where they like revisiting things. I don't know what is it with them and Matoi, but that's just it.
I mean, I don't know. I think maybe Studio Trigger just likes to be self-referential, because I was watching a little bit of Little Witch Academia, and they have a reference to Ava in it. So,
oh, okay. I'll have to watch.
They go way back, apparently.
I'll have to watch Little Witch Academia. It's on my list forever. But yeah, so just from a craft standpoint, like Trigger is really cool at extremes, and they just kind of let Ryuko be the only one in a black uniform, even though it's like a pretty rigid. I think you mentioned earlier, like they really try to set it up as kind of Nazi Germany adjacent school.
Yeah, it's like a militarized society, and then they're just letting Ryuko have this like sexy schoolgirl outfit.
It's like that one.
It's fine.
There was a meme somewhere where it was just like a room full of anime like students like in a high school, and then just like one motherfucker with pink hair in the corner, and it was like spot the protagonist.
Spot the protagonist. Yeah, like if you have like a streak of color in your hair, or like you have like purple spikes jutting out of your face, like you're probably gonna have some trauma, kid.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting too, in the way Shonen treats trauma. Steven Universe Twitter has come back to life recently with Steven Universe. I think it's Forever or something. I can't tell you if it's like a movie or a series or what the fuck it is. But apparently it deals with child protagonists having trauma, from all these wild things that happen to them. And I thought that was interesting because anime doesn't ever do that. Ever at all. It's just...
They never interrogate, like, the fact that they're always living in, like, hyper-militarized societies and everyone's cool with it.
Yeah, I mean, Inuyasha, of all things, kind of... I don't even want to say touches on it, but it does something unintentionally that makes it feel like it touches on it, and Brotherhood also touches on it a little bit, which notably both series written by a female author, and then I don't think Kill la Kill was, so...
Yeah, well, we can't win them all.
No. But yeah, Satsuki is a queen and amazing. I love her very, 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 very much.
Yeah, she rules.
She's dope as shit.
Can we talk about Mako Mankanchuk and like how Kill la Kill does queer romance? Because like it's not like a thing, which is kind of refreshing. I'm for listeners a cishet brown dude, but like I mean, my understanding is that whenever queer romance is depicted, I mean, I guess my understanding is that Disney likes to every couple years say that they're having the first major queer romance in any media. But like Kill la Kill, I feel like does queer representation pretty well. I mean, now it's not made explicitly until the end of the series, but I mean, I think they do it in a way, and it's not surprising. It's not like shoehorned in there. Like you can tell that Ryoko and Mako are like kind of into each other, like from the get-go, and I think it pans out well. And that last like minute and a half of their like date at the end of the series is so cute and so like perfect. And I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. As the bisexual on staff, yeah, I really was pleasantly surprised by Kill la Kill, especially in that regard, because I was watching it and I'm so used to being queer baited, and I'm so used to, I don't know, I think before I get into the objective queer romance in Kill la Kill, I should just go ahead and remind everybody that I have been watching anime and partaking in fandom for like a very long time, and so never too actively, but I've seen a lot in my day, and I've seen a lot of like, I think Teen Wolf is a really good example where it's not something I ever partook in, but like characters would look at each other once and like the entire teenage girl fandom would just like rise up and go like, they're in love, and I've never subscribed to that. I'm always very cautious. I try not to put my feelings in one character basket because just like podcasts are friendship simulators, I'm perpetually single and a hermit, so when I see love on screen, I'm like, this is what I'm gonna put my feelings into for 40 years. See my backlog of Dragon Age 2 fan art. Anyway, so when I was watching this, and also when I was, not to bring it up again, but when I was watching Promare, there was these moments of like, no. Are they though? No. And it was me just being completely skeptical and not really understanding what I was seeing, because I don't think Ryoko was all that into Mako in the beginning of the show. I think she thought it was just a dumb bowl cut on legs. But by the end of it, you watch their friendship grow, and there's this like, always this like tense little undertone, and you're never quite sure what you're looking at. But at the end, they do go on like a date, and it's real, and you're like, yeah, of course they've been in love the entire time. It's very believable. It's very organic in a way that I really enjoy. Where, honestly, not only... I think you brought up Disney having these, like, wild, artificial, quote-unquote queer characters. It's so frustrating. I'm just, like, having flashbacks of LeFou in the new Beauty and the Beast. Did you watch the new one?
Yeah, that was... yeah, we saw that in theaters. That was, I did not see, I literally didn't see it until, like, I went and read the articles later. I was like, oh, was that?
Yeah, Josh Gad was gay, I guess.
Cool.
Anyway, so...
Thanks, Disney. Yeah. Crushed it. You and J.K. Rowling really out here with queer representation. I
think there's another podcaster by the name of John Lovett who does he's a political show called Love It or Leave It that I really dig, but on one of his opening monologues he mentioned... we will eventually get a front top of the poster, frontline, queer protagonist out of Disney. We will. It will just be after it is brave to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're not going to take a stand.
No, but I think the interesting thing about East Asian media, I'm going to go ahead and include Chinese dramas in this too, because I've seen quite a lot going on with those lately, especially now that Netflix is mass uploading them, it seems like. There's a lot of queer undertones that can get explored. We talked about Yu Yu Hakusho earlier. If you're telling me Kuwabara isn't like a little bit gay for Yusuke, you need to take your fucking heterosexual goggles off, because that man is in love and they shoehorned in a straight plot for him, but it was wild. Anyway, so a lot of shoehorning heteronormativity happening to kind of mask the homosexual undertones. And I think that is a symptom of what I mentioned earlier, which is like this desert of female characters with any sort of actual character backbone that are just these kind of avatars for love or purity or friendship or whatever the fuck. But when you have, again, two female protagonists who develop a relationship over the course of it, I wouldn't be surprised if their like quote romance was introduced late in production, because it's just this organic byproduct of like a really good character relationship that forms over 20 episodes. So
yeah, it's sort of like the English boarding school model, like where if you don't have any other gender around to be attracted to, you're going to be attracted to whatever is available to you. And I mean, you can deny that, or you can just be like, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
this is what's happening.
I don't think that's a catch-all, but for sure, like, it's easier to cope with even a small attraction to men when you are surrounded by them. And I say cope with because it's all a spectrum. You guys, everyone's like a little gay, and the moment we can all admit it is the moment we'll be better off as people. Trust me. Everyone is just, especially women. I see you in bar bathrooms, women. Listen, can we all just cope, please? Not saying you have to date other people of the same gender, just fucking cope. Anyway, so yeah, it's just this weird, interesting, organic byproduct of like a good relationship, which is what the fandom communities have wanted out of these shonen protagonists for ages. You know what I mean? Like if you replay Kingdom Hearts now, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I fucking see what the shippers were on about. I see it now. They're tiny gays. They're small homosexuals. And I'm like, yeah, I see it now. I get it. I get what you guys saw. Same with like Naruto. If you watch Naruto now, you're like, yeah, I see it. I mean, like
the two most commonly uttered words in Naruto are Naruto and Sasuke, and they're saying them to each other. So I mean.
Like Sakura spends her whole time competing with the blonde one whose name escapes me. I'm like, honey.
Ino.
Yeah, Ino. I'm like, honey, that's not your competition.
Oh.
Blonde, baby. So yeah, I think that was a much longer kind of roundabout way of talking about it than I think I wanted to go. But it's true. Like, when you look at sort of queer media history, and I'm not an expert by any means, but just the media that I've experienced as a person who, like, very late in the game figured out she was bisexual. Like, it was just kind of a lot for... I think I watched Kill la Kill before I figured out I was bisexual, too.
So Kill la Kill made you gay.
Yeah!
We just want that on the record.
Yeah, thank you. On the record, Kill la Kill. No, Olivier... Olivier, I think, made me gay.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway, so, yeah, no, it was just... It was just good. It was good. I really like it. The show has a lot of problems. I think we've touched on them. It's a little too horny for being about kids. There's a lot of like strange World War II metaphor, but that's kind of true of a lot of anime. But Japan has its own special history with World War II, so we can't really touch on that without like. I think you'd be more prepared to touch on that with the history angle.
I mean, we can talk about that when we have our separate episode about the Poppy War.
Oh my god! Yeah, yeah, it's just good. It's just good. All that just to say it was fucking good. I loved it. It was cute as hell. I'm into it. I love that bowl cut little bitch.
Yeah, Mako owns. Definitely was surprised by Kill la Kill. All things considered, despite its extremely horny exterior, it's got actually pretty good characterization and inversions. That I mean, I'm a sucker for inversion. I'll take it whenever I can get it. So it's it's pretty good. We didn't even talk about Nudist Beach, but I don't really want to at this
No, it's
point.
okay. We can just literally sum it up in one sentence. I DM'd Aaron when he started watching this, and I was like, I can't wait for you to get to Nudist Beach, just to kind of scare him a little bit. Nudist Beach is an organization, an anti-Goku uniform, I believe, organization where nobody wears clothes, because in this world, clothes are aliens that will suck your blood to give you superpowers. And they are naked most of the time, and my favorite character is a teacher, was a Nudist Beach operative posing as a teacher. His name is Aikuro, and I love him. Basically, he's just got blue hair, and he's a mess, and he wears like anime glasses in the sense that you can't see through the lenses, and then he'll like sweep his hair back and his nipples glow. I'm so into it.
I hate him so much. He's so gross. And he's always getting naked in front of Ryuko,
sucks.
and I hate him.
He sucks really, really bad, but aesthetically, he's the best thing ever.
I can't believe you.
He sucks so bad. I know he does. I'm sorry, but it is just visually the funniest shit I've ever seen. But yeah, so we don't have to talk about Nudist Beach, but it is a thing that exists. Would you recommend this to other people?
I mean, we spent probably the first 15 minutes of this recording saying that there are so many qualifiers on recommending it. If you have a decent background in anime, if you've watched like a couple shonen animes, or I mean you know the difference between like Goku and Naruto and Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I mean, you could probably handle this one. But I mean, you've got to consider all the warnings that we said at the beginning. Like, it is extremely sexual, and it goes some weird places, and just, don't get horny for teens.
Yeah, please.
If you think you can handle that, it's actually a really good story, and I was very surprised by it.
Yeah, it's genuinely a fucking gem. If you want to know if you can handle Kill la Kill, or if you're interested in other Studio Trigger things, there's Little Witch Academia on Netflix, which is a lot tamer than this. And there's Promare, which will be out on digital on the 21st. And if you really want like a pretty good litmus test for absurdity and like 20% of the nudity, if you can handle Soul Eater, you can handle Kill la Kill. But again, with all the caveats and not getting horny for teens, please.
All right, I think we should probably end on that note. So I guess if we're going to do this podcast again, I think it's my turn to recommend you something.
Oh fuck yeah, give it to me.
So I kind of want you to, because we were having this discussion about Naruto, and you said you couldn't get through Boruto, and I want you to try to at least get through the first season. If you look up like fillers or not, yeah, whatever the stuff that's filler, you can skip that. That's fine. And I also don't know that that's fair though, because Boruto is like 50 episodes.
No, it's totally
Kill la Kill is
fine.
half that time.
I'll get my payback. You're fine. I'll do it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's super ominous. Yeah. So, do you want to try to get through Boruto?
I'm fucking deciding that yeah, I'll get through the first season of Boruto for you. I will. Yeah, dope as hell. Do we want people to find us other than this relic of a YouTube recording we're gonna leave?
Yeah. I mean, I'm on Twitter at AaronSXL. That's where you get all my takes about Indiana's bad healthcare system and anime. So
yeah, I'm at Lailses, that's Leylses, on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, all the places, and that's where you can get my steaming hot takes about media and politics, and also sometimes like food. So just living the simple life over here. All
right, well, until we make a more formalized thing, we will see you all next time whenever
see you when I finish Boruto, motherfucker.